everybody. My name is Jess Spencer, and I am the casting director at Village Theater. And I am so excited to be with you today for this evening's spotlight, where we are sharing stories and creating connection. Tonight, we're going to talk about a very special topic to me, which is motherhood. I am a mother of a beautiful 2-year-old girl named Raya. And there she is. She's adorable. And when I was thinking about this topic of motherhood, I got really excited about how does it intersect with the theater and musical theater and the performing arts. And it brought me back to the beginning of my motherhood journey, which was I was in my second and third trimester when we were auditioning the musical Matilda at Village Theater. And I got so much support and love from the families of Matilda, support and love I didn't even know I needed. So when I thought about who do I want with me to discuss this topic, some people from Matilda definitely popped in my head. First being Shaunyce Omar, and then also Diana opong-Parry. Yay! I am so grateful that you both have decided and agreed to join me to talk about this very important subject of motherhood and the arts and all that entails. But before we get too deep into it, I would love to have you both introduce yourselves and share who you are in the Village Theater world. Shaunyce, why don't you go first?
Hi, Jessica. I'm so happy to be here. Hello, Diana. My name is Shaunyce Omar. I'm an actress and singer in the city of Seattle. I'm also a mother of 3 wonderful children. Well, my oldest, I guess, is a young adult now. She is 21. That's Ayana. And that picture actually is of Isis. That's Ayana, yes. And then my second daughter is 17-year-old Isis. And then I have a son, and he is 12 years old, Nate.
Amazing. What I love about this is I'm hoping to glean a lot of wisdom from both of you, since you are both very, you're a little bit farther on your parenting journey than I am. So I'm ready for the wisdom. Shaunyce, we should also mention, because Diana insisted, we need to celebrate your Gregory Award.
Yes.
You are a Gregory Award winning artist.
Thank you. Thank you. Diana.
So my name is Diana opong-Parry. I am a mother. I am watching my 6-year-old son grab snacks when he's supposed to be upstairs. So first lesson in parenting, Jessica, you never know what's going to happen. I am the mom of an up-and-coming artist, a little girl who loves theater. Her name is Eva. She was had the opportunity to be in Matilda with the amazing Shaunyce and other incredible cast members. And now that, things are a little bit on pause, I'm taking a little bit of that time that I've given to her and my other 2 and making some time for myself. So I've started creating my own audio stories and producing my own content, which has been really fun. And working more, which I wasn't expecting due to COVID. They needed some help at the station I fill in at, KUW. And so I now have a weekly gig, and it wasn't expected, but it's been really almost like a new birth for me, which has been really fun to tap into this creativity again.
I love that COVID is giving so many folks the opportunity to explore artistic channels that they weren't able to before discovering them. Shaunyce, will you tell us what you discovered? Because I feel
I've become a crafter. I've been making earrings. I'm sporting a pair right now. These are my I don't know if you can see them well. Let's see. These are my Wonder Woman. Let me take them off and see if I can get closer. There we go.
Oh,
these are
cute.
My Wonder Woman inspired earrings. And that's the back. Oh, I got to go this way. Yeah. They're golden red. And I've been making earrings. I don't know really where it came from. I love earrings, and so I'm always like buying them and looking for unique earrings. And then I ended up with a bunch of extra earrings because I would buy them like wholesale and only like wear a few out of the bunch. And then I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll do some selling of all my like new earrings that I'm not wearing, that I'm not going to wear. And then from there, I was just like, when customers would ask certain things, oh, do you have this in red? Do you have this in blue? Do you have this? And I'm like, no, but let me try to customize them for you. So then I started customizing them. And then it kind of morphed into building them from the ground up. And it's kind of been, it's weird, and I like it, and it takes up a lot of time. But it's been kind of my calm space to create something beautiful. And I'm really glad that I'm doing this interview today, that I get to wear a pair. I was talking to Shannon Strom from the Fifth Avenue, and we were both saying how in a time like this, like when you know, the only time you really talk to other people is online and Zoom. It's like earrings are the big thing. It's like, what earrings should I wear for the Zoom meeting today? You know, and I am like, yes. So yeah, so crafting has kind of been the thing that has burst out of this odd and weird time that we're in for me.
I love it.
Well, and Jessie Wasson has started baking and has this beautiful furloughed baking thing. She used to be the company manager, or she is the company manager.
Yeah.
And she's making, so yes, there's lots of people doing lots of really beautiful things using their time.
Yeah, but I love that, Diana. The thing that I love having you be part of this conversation is that you are a mother of an artist who you and your family made extreme sacrifices to commit to doing Matilda, and we'll get more into that later. But also now that you are prioritizing yourself as a mother and as an artist and finding that like unicorn space, I hear some people describe it as, right? To pursue and really develop your passions as well. Because so often I feel like, and we'll talk more about this later, I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, it's good. You're great.
This is the thing that I'm just so excited about for you to share more about that. Anyway, so one thing I do want to do is acknowledge that the three of us are mothers, and so much of what we're going to talk to is applicable to so many different types of caregivers, parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, people who identify as mother, people who identify as father, people who identify just as parents. And just to let you know that while we are all mothers, we understand and see that so much of what we're talking to is applicable to all of you who are making the lives of children work.
Yeah.
Amen.
So shout out to all of you. The other thing we really want to do is create this beautiful community of celebration and encouragement in that comment section. You know, I think, Diana, I think you said like, we should highlight more stories. There were so many stories to be told. And just this idea of, can we make the comments place a place of encouragement when we go back at the end of this to look? So please comment away, encouragement, joy, claps for everybody. We want to hear it. We want to see it. Motherhood is hard, parenthood is hard, and we all deserve a moment to just celebrate each other.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get going, there's so much, sorry, I get so excited.
You're doing great.
I found a quote today that I thought would be a great jump into a lot of the things we wanted to talk about via an article from Parent Magazine that I wanted to share with everybody. So it goes like this. Throughout the past 9 months, Americans of all backgrounds have come together to help their communities, and nobody has done more than mothers. It's time for us to stop expecting them to be superheroes and instead provide them with the structure and support they need.
Well, Shaunyce has got her Wonder Woman earrings on. That is what we do as people who care for others. It's easy to put ourselves last or not in the picture at all because we're giving all to our families, be it partners or children, elderly parents, whatever the makeup might be. And yeah, we need more support. We need more opportunities to refill and recharge our wells, because when people are constantly drawing from us, if we're not able to refill, then we're not going to be any good to them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's an expectation of parents and traditionally mothers, to kind of put themselves last and to put forth the nurturing and the efforts towards the family. And of course, I guess the prize is, well, yes, mom, you're part of the family too, but you still are last in line in terms of getting what you need. And I think what Diana just said is really like pivotal when we are depleted, because we've given so much to others. It's like it will begin to lack, and taking that time to recharge, taking that time to find what your passion is, what makes you happy, what makes you smile. It's not selfish to want peace, to want to smile. I think to take the time to find those things will then help you recharge, and then you can be that the mother that that your family expects you to be. And yeah, it really is. It's support, just like the quote says. It's support and it's tools, and it's, hey, I can't do everything. I need help and support, which I'm blessed because I have a lot of help and support, but I know a lot of my counterparts do not have the support that I have. And I see it, and I know I know that I'm blessed in that case, that I have a family and parents and a circle of people that really love me and my children, and they step in when I can't, or if I have to do something else, they are there. And I just wish all of us had that. It really is hard, because we do have to be Superwoman, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I think. Oh, thanks, Ruthann.
Oh, Ruthann.
I love it. Diana, we talked so much as we prepped this conversation about the sacrifices that we all have to make in order to pursue these dreams of our, unicorn space, or that happiness thing, whatever's going to fill our battery. And so much of that is our artistry. Being an artist, pursuing the arts. And I think one of the things that's so interesting about your journey and the journey of Matilda is what you and your family were willing to sacrifice and put your family through, essentially, to allow Eva to reach her goals and her dreams. And I would just love to hear you talk about that more, mostly because I don't know if a lot of people know what is required and asked of youth artists and artists in general.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, it was such an honor to get to understand the process more. I have more respect for actors like Shaunyce, directors like you, and others in the industry, because I don't think I even had an idea of how hard it was, let alone for my kid, right? That's a whole nother thing. It was 8 months, a really long 8 months, really beautiful, lots of highs and lows, some tears, not just from me, not just from Eva, from my other kids, because I was never here. Thanks to coronavirus, my husband's working from home now. And so they get all this extra time with dad. But when we were doing Matilda, I'd have to say, can you not go to this meeting? Can you meet me downtown so I can swap cars with you because I need to take Eva here or there. We were eating out a lot because there was no way for me to get in traffic wherever I needed to go, to make sure that she had the food that she needed. Sleep. Early morning calls, long nights, right? And then just the wind down, right? Sometimes she had rehearsal until 10 or 11, and she couldn't wind down until 12. And she didn't want to, at the time she was 8, so it's not, I could have probably left her downstairs and been like, peace out, I gotta go. But she wanted to talk to me about her day, the fun things she got to see Shaunyce do, or the neat thing that she got to see Ivana do on the trapeze, or something funny she learned from older, Matilda kids. And it was like, okay, this is amazing, but we have to do it again tomorrow. So that was hard. And for her too, I noticed she wasn't getting enough, she was on that high, but of just excitement, but she also became a little more cranky, right? It was a process. And those rehearsal days were hard. And then when shows started, that was a whole other schedule. So I think the constantly changing schedules. And then my middle one, she was like, you always do stuff for Eva. Like you're never here. You don't like spend time with me. And that was probably my hardest, like, oh man, you're noticing. I was kind of hoping she wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
And she noticed. So we know now as a family that we have to talk about it before she does a show because of the impact it has on the whole family. It's not just her. It's not just me. It affects us all. There were nights she didn't get to see her dad. And so the weekends, we're like, let's see if we can say hi to dad in between shows or whatever the thing might be. So yeah, it's a big commitment. All the Matilda families worked very hard and we helped each other. And that was another piece of the support. We helped. Yes, Michael. We helped with meals. We helped with watching kids on breaks because some of the other Matilda family members had siblings who were in shows or doing other awesome things, dancing, whatever. And so we had to figure out how can we, like, can I leave this kid with you? And some of them were coming from super far away. The Estes all the way up in, Mukilteo, Thomas's family down sort of by Covington. Like, it was a big group of all of us coming together, doing the best we can with what we have to support our kids. And it was a beautiful experience.
You guys really did support the kids. One thing that we talked about a lot was how great our parent group for Matilda was. And we saw the sacrifice that you guys make. I mean, we know because we do this all the time and we know what it takes and how much time you have to be here. And so the fact that you guys dedicated that to your kids, and it's not easy because they were still in school. So this wasn't like in the summer. You started in the summer in terms of rehearsal, but
I forgot about that.
The show was over the holidays. So that meant holiday trips that you normally might take as a family. Holiday gatherings. Oh, we're going to go see the Nutcracker. We're going to whatever that you traditionally do with your family. Those things kind of go out the wayside. And we know because we've, a lot of us have been in this business for years. And like I said, there's never, I don't know the last time I did not work on a Mother's Day. Like, we know that holidays are times that people go see shows. So we know that we're working on those holidays. But for you guys, I would think this is so new to them. And I'm sure they're just like, oh my God, this is crazy. This schedule is crazy. But you guys did it. And you had the dinners in between that you guys invited us to all the time. I mean, we all went to see Annie together. Like, it really was a great family. The parents embraced me because if I can remember, I think I was the only, I think Basil and I might have been the only parents in the cast.
Sai, yeah.
Yeah. Basil, Sai, and I were the only parents in the cast. And you guys really like embraced us too, because we were parents. And so it's like, we get it. And we knew that you guys were like, And so it was great. It was great. But yeah, it's hard. And so kudos to you. To all of the Matilda. Hey,
yes, Cherie. Yes.
Kudos to all the Matilda parents because you guys really showed up for your kids. I know it was a huge sacrifice, especially if you have more than one kid or more than one child. But you guys did it. Your kids were there. They were on. They were ready. And you guys always came with a great attitude. And it just made the whole situation full of love. It was the holidays too, so we needed all that love.
Yeah, I feel like any time at Village that I've been involved where we have a show with youth in it, it is amazing the depth of community that immediately is created. And I just think it's one of the blessings. I saw Maria commented about Billy Elliot. That's another one that, like, those families committed a year of their lives, and it's a huge commitment and dream. And Shaunyce, as an artist, that it's like when you commit to be an artist, it's forever and it can be exhausting. And so for y'all to put your whole families, and when you're a parent, you always put your whole family through it. And so I just want to give a huge shout out of support and thanks. And also, I was having drinks with Pamela Campy-Spee the other day, and who was a stage manager on Matilda, and she said that she felt like the parents community supported her in a way that she hadn't had support as a stage manager before. And she was also pregnant during Billy Elliot. So I think that's
I was going to say, you've got a little girl, little girl, right?
Yeah. Hunter, yeah. Who's exactly 2 years older than my daughter, same birthday. But I know, not funny. I just think that there's something so beautiful that immediately happens with parents in the arts, where it's a connection. I have some actors who they're like, I need to know who's cast. And I'm like, I need to wait, these things. And I have one actor in particular who's like, I just need to know if there's another parent. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. I get that now. And I think this is one of those things that you don't get until you experience it, right? You don't get that there's additional support and strength you need when you're a parent. And I mean, Shaunyce, I loved what you shared in our chats before this about the ongoing, constant, if I got to do a show, this is what it's going to mean. This is the impact on my family, and how that has kind of made your career very malleable, but how theater's called you back so many times. You want to share some of that? That's beautiful.
It is hard. And like I said, I've been blessed because of my support system. I always say, if it was not for my family, I would not be in this business. It wouldn't happen. I couldn't, even if I wanted to, I couldn't make it happen. I don't think I can make it happen with multiple kids. Maybe if I have one child, but with 3 that I have, there's just no way. And it is a business of there's like no parents in the business, and that's hard. That's
no parents.
It's a, we want to say, oh, it's a young person's industry, and there is some truth to that, even though there are actors of all ages. But the industry caters to young, single actors, performers, and they don't have kids. And so the schedule of tech of 12 to 12, you're gone all day for 10 days like that. You don't, like you said, Diana, you don't see, there's certain kids you don't see. You get home after their sleep. Yep. And then in the morning, depending on how far you have to drive, you may be gone before they wake up. Or like in my case, when I'm working in Everett, I'm getting old, so I have to stay the weekend in Everett for that Friday night turnaround to Saturday morning matinee, because the drive is just too long at night and in the morning for me to be able to sing that 2:00 show. And I've been blessed because I've been doing it so long, my kids get it. My kids understand. When they were younger, it was a lot harder. I know my son has told me many times back when he was 3-4 years old, Mommy, you don't have to work anymore. And he meant that in the most genuine way. He really did. And I was like, yeah, I do. But I know where it came from. Do you know what I mean? He was missing me, and just working in the city was hard enough. But there's been times when I've had to go out of state to work, out of the country. I used to go to Japan 3 months at a time. And you don't stop being a parent, even though you're not there. The great Greta Boston, I did a show with her way back in the day at the Intiman, Tony Award winning Greta Boston, Crowns, directed by Jockey Mascow. I have to throw out that. She told me once in the dressing room, she didn't have any kids, but she friends that had kids in the business. She was like, wow, you're a parent? And I was a young parent at the time. I only had my first 2, and my daughter was my second daughter was an arm baby. She was teeny. And she was like, I know that's hard. She said, what I found out from, and I was just entering the business, so I was a new professional actress as well. And she said, what I've learned in this business is that the parents don't stop being parents just because they're in a show. You could be in the dressing room and the kid is calling you talking about, Mom, where's my green sock? And that is so true. You don't, even though you're in a show, you don't stop being a parent. I don't know how many times I've had to walk out of the rehearsal room on a phone call when I was in Japan, when it's 17 hours, difference. I'm up in the middle of the night helping with homework, because it's 3 in the afternoon for them. Here in Japan, it's 2 in the morning. And I'm like, well, let's look at what this homework with this math, what is it? You know what I mean? You don't stop being a parent just because you're doing a show or just because you're at a gig or on a gig or you're out of town. Like, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
It's not easy. But it's the sacrifice, like you're saying, Diana, it's the sacrifice that you make, and you pray and hope that the family, supports you. And I don't know what's going on. My computer just popped something up. I hope y'all can see it.
It was. Well, I saw the comment from Faith who's saying she agrees with you. Yep, that's a fact. Yeah, she's a working artist with 3 kids. So yeah, she gets it.
And so, yeah, it's difficult. And so I've, it doesn't stop. But again, I go back, you have to have that support system. You have to.
Yeah. I feel like the more and more I'm in this industry, I'm just like, oh, you can't succeed as a parent without support, period. You can't succeed. And I know that that's probably very much the same in many industries, but because I've not been in other industries, but it feels pretty intense in the arts. Just because also you have to give so much. Your job is literally, as a performer, Shaunyce, to be vulnerable, to be available, to be fully present and there in order to hopefully change lives on stage. That's a lot to ask somebody who also, I mean, I don't have to do that, but I'm always tracking where my children are, or my daughter is, what they need, big to-do lists, and just that availability is crazy.
Yeah. And I think my mother was a working mother. Like, she had a career, and I look back on some of the things that I would call her for while she was at work. I'm a kid. I'm thinking about me, what I want. And now that I'm older and I'm working, I'm like, why was I doing that? Like, she didn't have time to be worried about what I want. Mom, there's no more Pop-Tarts. Who cares?
Perspective is everything.
Yeah. But she took the time, she was a wonder. She still is a Wonder Woman mom. She took the time to say, okay, I know I'm at work, but it doesn't stop. I still have to do this. I still have to tend to what Shaunyce wants in this moment, and it's hard. And my dad too, my dad also, he's great. I call him Mr. Mom in a sense because of his work schedule. He's a retired fireman. And so he only worked 2 days a week, 24-hour shifts, 10 days a month. So that means he was home a lot. When he did work, he was gone from 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. the next day. That's the firefighter schedule. But he was home 5 of those days. And so he was there when I came home from school. He would have the dinner and all those things on the days he didn't work. He would be cooking. He would be, but I also knew those days that he was at work, I wasn't calling him. I was calling my mom at work to say, Mom, I need blah, 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 blah. Because she was my mom.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like there's a little bit I feel like the things that people talk about, this is what I've learned in my 2 years. The things about people talk about in terms of like, the mom does a lot. I'm just learning more and more that like women that are mothers, I feel like process things differently. And that makes there's a lot of pressure to just be available all the time. And I'm really trying to learn how to balance that and how to share some of it with my partner. And I'm lucky to have a partner, but so much of it is a little difficult in that way. Because I just feel like motherhood, there are some additional pressures from society that come out in those things. I'm hearing them in some of the things.
We're messaged that, right? I think, and especially in the United States, we are messaged that as women, this is what our life is supposed to look like. This is our trajectory, and that we can't have it all because it's too hard. And so it's not like some weird thing in our heads where we're like, Yep. And Renee's an author. She knows she's writing books. She's got 3 kids. She's trying to virtual homeschool them. Like, we're all doing our thing. We can't do it all. It's not possible. And it's okay that we can't do it all. And just like Shaunyce says, it's not selfish when we say, I can't do it all. I need a break. The constant interruption. I don't work outside of the home most of the week, just 1 day a week. And I don't know if I can go 5 minutes without somebody coming and asking me, Mom, where's the bread? And it's like, it's right in front of you in the fridge. Mom, can I have a popsicle? It's 9 o'clock in the morning. No. And I'm like trying to edit. And so a lot of time I have to do stuff like that at night. So the balance comes from, I think, figuring out when is it going to be best for me? And for me, sometimes that's after they're all in bed, or I need to ask for help. And asking for help can be very hard. Mm-hmm. And that's something I've been working really hard on in the past probably few weeks. I think especially since Matilda too, even just realizing like, I might need to ask grandma to take Eva to one of her rehearsals or wherever. Mm-hmm. So people know Diana can't do it all. I've got so much other stuff. My husband, like, you're going to just have to take a day off work. Can you just do that? Cause I can't get Viv to her thing. And it's hard. So the balance thing, I feel like it's like a constantly evolving thing too. Cause I'm sure Shaunyce can attest to, it gets easier as they get older, but then it gets harder in different ways. Right.
Oh, yes. They become more involved in things. So like, my kids, I don't necessarily have to make them a snack anymore. Right. They can get themselves dressed. Right. Those type of things. And that's great. But like,
it sounds really nice.
Ooh, girl,
it's coming, Jess.
Potty time. They don't have to worry about potty time. That's just them. That's their business now. You don't have to worry about that anymore. It's wonderful. Okay. The issue, but the problems, I wouldn't even say problems, but the challenges are as they get older, like my kids are very involved. They're not like kids that just come home and don't have any extracurricular activities. My mother always had me involved in a bunch of stuff. And so they're involved in a bunch of stuff. My 2 oldest, they both dance. They're both very active in church. My son.
Yes.
Those are my girls. Those are my girls. That was actually on my daughter's birthday. Just turned 21. So they're both dancers. My oldest teaches dance. And so just over the years, trying to make sure that they get to their rehearsals, their classes, their performances, and they perform all over the city as well, pre-COVID. And then I'm performing and rehearsing all the time. And then my son plays AAU basketball, which is like, I'm a new sports parent. Here's another one. That's I'm a new sports parent. And so realizing that, sports takes up a lot of time, just like acting, singing, dancing. I mean, and out of town trips. We just, right before COVID, we took my son down to Anaheim for a basketball tournament. And during COVID, we were supposed to go to, this summer to Las Vegas for a tournament, which of course, was canceled. But the amount of time, basketball trainings, basketball practice, tournaments, games, their schedule is filled to the brim, and they go to school as mine is. It really takes all 3 adults in the house, me, my mother, and my father, to make sure that all 3 of the kids could get to where they needed to be and everybody met their obligation.
Mm-hmm. And let's not even talk about the cost. We haven't even covered all the activities cost. So, and I don't know, being an artist, being an artist is not Jeff Bezos' money. I've never done it, but I know, surprise, spoiler alert, everybody. It is not a very lucrative job. No,
you have to love it.
I think it's definitely something like I've actually had this conversation with my husband. Like, do we want her to go into this? Because I just don't know if it's and it's like but no, it's like, so all the things that Shaunyce just said. So not only is she working and doing her thing, but she's also having to like pay for all of this stuff. And so then there's an accessibility issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know, Shaunyce, you talked about how you've had to leave the industry, right?
Yeah, there have been moments, and not recently, but in the past where it was like, well, I'm done with performing. I just can't do that and be a mom and bring in the money that I need to bring in at the same time. And those are hard decisions. And so, yeah, there's been times in prior when I was married, trying to be a housewife and that obligation. And, it's just like, well, can I take this job? Because, well, is he going to be okay with the schedule? And it really is. It is a sacrifice, and you have to love it. You can't. I teach kids, and I tell them, you can't be in this business going in saying, I want to be a star. That's really, honestly, that's not what this business is about at all. That's the outer veneer layer that people think it is. It is not that at all. It is about loving the storytelling aspect, because there's so much sweat and tears and sacrifice and loss that comes along with it, that if you don't love it to its core, there is no way that you'll be able to sustain the requirement. It is about stamina. I think you guys talked before about being able to do, that's one thing to say, oh, I want to do a play. Ooh, it's so fun. And then you have maybe 4 performances, 2 this weekend and 2 next weekend, and it's cute, and you rehearse and that's great. But when you're doing 8 shows a week for 2 months, and you rehearse for a month, and you got 10 days of tech, the name of the game is stamina. And if you don't love it, there's no way.
There's no way. I try to teach my students, Shaunyce, exactly what you're saying, that the thing that has to fire you and keep you going is the purpose of why am I telling stories? To affect change, to provide inspiration, to create community. The why has to be bigger than yourself in order to make it through this scenario, because only 1% of people reach fame and a level where it's like, money's good. Now I got a platform. I can do whatever I want.
Not what this is.
Not what this is at all. I had a moment when I got into my 30s, and we very specifically were like, no babies until, because we wanted to see how long we could pursue this arts thing, and knew that we couldn't financially afford to also be parents. And so that's also a huge sacrifice to people who are wanting to balance it all. And how many people who are at the place that I am in their mid-30s, and they're like, I have to leave this industry in order to pursue bigger things in my life, such as parenthood. That's a real thing. And then how often, I will quote a fellow parent friend of mine who's also an artist that told me earlier this week, yeah, parenting is a liability sometimes in theater. It feels like parenting is something that often needs to be hid. And I just want us to talk about that, is also dreaming about what it could be, right? Like, what could that support be? If we didn't have to hide, I actually need more money than maybe other people do, because I have to support 3 kids or a family, or I actually need to leave right now because my child is calling me from the nurse's office and needs to be picked up. What are the dreams of support, Shaunyce, that like you would love to see as an actor from theaters? I mean, part of me is just like, nobody's producing right now. Let's dream and put it out there and see what happens.
Well, I think just what you said, definitely. Like, I have been in numerous shows where there's just no understudy. And so the culture of theater is, unless you're dead, you get on that stage and you perform. And so feeling like it doesn't matter if my kid is sick or in the hospital, or, I have to be there to perform. I just wish theaters would consider the fact that our whole life is not wrapped around this production, that we are whole people. Yes, we're artists and we love it. Love it. I have to storytell. I will storytell. Okay. I love it. I will do it. And I'm a parent and I have a family, a life that also needs me, and so being able to have a time where, okay, look, I need to call in. I can't do this show, today or this weekend. And that is something that's sort of changing in the narrative now. Back in the day, though, it was like, you don't call in for nothing. I don't care what the situation. You drag your broke leg on stage with you to do whatever you have to do. You never call in. And that is sort of, there's a little pushback on that now. It's sort of changing. I needed to go further. I needed to, in the very beginning, I think in the meet and greets, when when the producer is negotiating with you about the contract, I need them to say, yes, we know that you're a parent. So we know the kids have schedules as well. Let's look at this money. Let's look at, if you're not equity, we know that this might be a situation where you may need to be equity so that you can get that insurance for your family. Why is the insurance so much more if I add my kids to my equity health fund insurance? It's great, or it was great pre-COVID. The premium was great pre-COVID, right? For when it just covered me. But then when I wanted to add one of my kids or all of my kids, it skyrockets to something that I can't afford because what the theaters pay me. I wish the industry supported parents, supported that we're whole people, that our day and our life does not stop and start with this production.
And I would, go ahead, Jess.
No, go ahead.
No, you go. No, what I was going to say was, and then that's my fear as a parent, right? Who has a child who wants to do this. I would love for them to consider those childless single people also as whole people, right? Mm-hmm. So that when they're starting out, they don't feel like they have to make the decision you did, Jess, where it's like, I have to wait until I have kids because otherwise I can't keep pursuing this, right? Yeah. Wouldn't it be so nice if that was also taken into consideration, that if they need a mental health day, if they're sick, if they have a broken leg, that they don't have to, I have to go, otherwise I'm not going to get paid, or I'm going to get kicked out of the show, or I'm not going to get the next gig. Like, that's anxiety inducing. I don't know what the mental health situation is within theater, but I know lately,
exactly what you're saying.
But no. I would, but I would like to think that, like, since we've all had to literally slow down and rethink all of our lives, right? And all of our things, that when we go back, once everything opens back up, and I pray that it opens back up, because we all need the stories. We all need the hope that theater and performers give us. My daughter needs it. She's so sad of all the things that she missed. I know she's not the only one mourning the loss of live theater. But it would just be so great if there was more room for that mental health care, for us to think through, how can we make sure this person's just okay? Because there's so much else going on in the world, like you said, Shaunyce. It's not just that one production. And it's so easy, I think, when you get into them, unless you have an amazing director like Catherine Van Meter, that where the focus is, no, this is the production. This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's about normalizing these conversations, which is why I'm also so grateful to have the two of you willing to say these things, we can support parents. We can make these things norms. It will take an adjustment and it will take a shift. And I don't know exactly how to make it all happen, but what if we could? And I think we can, because we're people who care about people. Like, if there's an industry that should care about people the most, shouldn't it be the industry that tells the story of humanity?
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Colleen. Love you, Colleen. Another one. I want to give a huge shout out to an organization called the Parent Artist Advocacy League, also known as like PAL. They offer so many resources to parents, right? So they even offer grants for childcare. So I think local artist Jasmine Joshua has gotten one. This is me just trying to remember things, so I could be totally wrong. But I think this is a great resource for parents who are looking and needing that additional support. And I'll just speak it out loud that, like, additional resources are an adjustment for producers, right? It's a financial adjustment, and I want to acknowledge that it can't always happen all at once. But what I also want to I just want to encourage people to talk about it more, because the more artists as a casting director who talk to me about their needs as a parent, the more I can accommodate them and the more I can search out the solutions for them. And so encouraging people, and as much as mothers should talk about in negotiations being a mother and the needs, so should fathers. Because as much as I wish it didn't work like this, sometimes when the fathers speak out, it's easier to hear the same thing from mothers. And that is a reflection of an industry that is a little older and a little, probably not just this industry, if I'm being honest. Yeah. And so I just want to like encourage people to ask for what you need, because if you don't ask, then you'll never know, right? But
I think that's the key. I think asking, we want to encourage all the parent artists out there right now that whenever we get back to what we do, if speak up, say to the producer, hey, I'm a parent and these are the things that I need. I think this is, like Jess said, this is the time to make the push, to push the theaters to make a change. And I just want to quickly shout out a few theaters that in this city have, like I said, there's still work to be done, but have tried to move things in a direction. So first, because I'm here with Village, I'll say Village Theater. I've never done a production with them without an understudy. So even though I've only for one production had to use my understudy, I thank you for even providing one, because that let me know, okay, I have an option that if something happens, I can call in my understudy. So thank you for that. I want to shout out Intimom, because Diana said the anxiety inducing. I had a situation. I did not have an understudy. And my daughter was graduating. My oldest was graduating from high school, and they gave us the graduation date, but they didn't give us a time, which Written had to share the time with 3 other high schools. And so when they told us the time of the graduation, finally, it was during the evening, which I had a show. Now it was pre-rehearsal. We hadn't started rehearsal yet, but I had already committed to do the show. And that anxiety, I was like, oh my God, I don't have an understudy. I've already said I'm going to do this show. And if I can't do one show, I probably won't be able to get the gig. And my health insurance is wrapped up with how many weeks I work. So even though I can't work one day, if I don't get to do the entire 2-month gig, that's 2 months worth of health insurance that I won't be able to have. And but I called the artistic director, and she was like, we're going to get you an understudy for that night. And so I thank you for that, Jen. Jen. So and then also oh gosh, one more theater. My mind is blowing me right now. I'll come back to that, but I'm saying being able to the rep, even though again in that situation we didn't have an understudy, they let us know in the very beginning, now we don't have any understudies and we want you to be able to do the show, but if you're sick, you take care of yourself. And this was coming after a production they had that they really had to stop like 2 weeks or a week and a half of shows because one of their actors were sick. And I'm sure they lost a pretty penny on that, but it was still important for them to tell us during Nina Simone that if something is going on, we're family, you come and let us know. If you can't do the show, of course, we want you to be able to do the show, but if it's a situation, we don't want you to drag yourself out there half dead. And I appreciate that. So theaters are starting to change somewhat. And again, it's us too. We have to say, hey, this is what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just think directors, you also can like encourage a community space that is welcoming to parents. And the idea that, yes, if you need to go get your child, you should be able to do that. Also, I know during She Loves Me, we had a kid hang out with us during tech one day. And it's just about normalizing that. It's about speaking it out loud and seeing it and how can we do those things, and also being creative on how we can support parents. I have lots of fun ideas. Speaking out loud, like you said, Mother's Day, and I'm like, Mother's Day. Your family needs to be there with you on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
How do we make that happen? This is coming from somebody who does not have the power to make that happen, but I'm just dreaming. But like, that's a great dream. And also during tech, artists aren't the only people who have kids, right?
Yes.
Stage managers, technicians,
Yes.
designers, directors. If you're at the theater for more than 12 hours a day, you need 100% childcare for your child during that time. And if you're working on a wage that just pays for things, what else is there? That's why I suggest PAL, other organizations. Let's speak those things into being so that more support exists.
Yeah. Well, can I just say, I have so much more, again, even more respect than I did before, Shaunyce, the amount of work and effort that has to go into pursuing this career and making, and you're fabulous at what you do. It's an honor to watch you. And it's been such a privilege for Eva to get a chance to be in shows with you. And wow. So much respect.
Thank you. And respect to you too, because
Yes.
there are a lot of parents who would not give and sacrifice what you have given for Eva to do this. It's not easy. And literally, I always go back to support, because she has the support from you and her family like she does. I can see it. I can tell. And she's so committed. Like, she's a little star.
Well, I want to do this shout out to support and celebrate Diana. I was messaged by Eva's teacher from Pathway, who said one of Eva's celebrations was that her mother was going to be on Spotlight. And she was so excited for her mom. And so I just also look at that and I see a young woman who loves her mother and wants to celebrate her mom. And what a beautiful thing that is. And your family's amazing. Also, I love that I get to see you all around town in Issaquah, because it just makes me happy. But I went to 27 different places, but that kind of joy is amazing. And I also look at Shaunyce and I see you dancing with your daughter in TikTok videos and saying yes to her consistently. Can we play the other one, Kevin?
Hey, so you back him. I'm a savage. Classy, bougie, ratchet. Sassy, moody, nasty. Acting stupid. What's happening? What's happening? I'm a savage.
Go, Shaunyce.
Now you see, I was in the back because number one, they were tired of me because they were like, "You need to learn this faster," and I'm like, "I can't remember all these moves."
You did great.
I look at that and I'm just like, oh my gosh, to be a mother who says yes to dancing with her daughters, and just looking at like what I see there is an artist who's learned to say yes and to her kids.
Yeah.
In a beautiful way that like what support that gives them. And also to celebrate so many parent artists, because I feel like one of the joys is we get to play. We know how to play and we play with our kids. And Diana, as a storyteller, you've created a beautiful storyteller in your daughter.
Thank you. I did have an epic zombie battle with Malcolm the other day, which was pretty fun. So it's fun to tap into that creativity, right? Like, again, it's a way to fill us up. It's a way to make connection. And it's artists like Shaunyce and you, Jess, and me seeing other working moms that has sort of made me think, in addition to just sort of having the freedom now in a way that I didn't before, to be like, maybe I can do this.
You can.
Maybe I don't just have to be in the back. I don't need to just not pursue my thing or exist only in this space. I can be more.
Oh yes, Diana. Look, that promo video you put together with your voiceover, I'm like, ma'am. I'm like, that is so professional. Like, you really should be in this business. Like,
I would encourage everybody to look up Diana. Her, yep, there it is. DePaul Media. What I love is this idea of audio storytelling. It's not anything that, I dig myself a podcast. Like, I love me a podcast, but also this idea of I just had never heard of audio storytelling in this way. Please look it up. There is one about a village theater artist named Cy Paolantonio. Diana, did we hear you on NPR?
Yes, I work for KUW. I'm on Saturdays. Here we go. You can tune in to me on KUW Saturdays starting at 3:00.
Girl.
I've worked there for a really long time, but it's one of those things I left because there was no way for me to keep doing that job, pay for childcare. All of my income would have gone to childcare because being an announcer is not a lucrative job. I did not know that. So I had to leave, and that's a choice that my husband and I made so that we could start our family. And when Malcolm was 2, I was like, I need this. I get so much joy. I love being on the air. I love creating. I love getting to interview people like Cy and hear their stories. I love people. Maybe it's that I'm nosy. I'm curious. I love knowing what's going on with people. And I love hearing, because there's so much I learn from all, like, even just listening to Shaunyce, like I learned so much from her, right? I know her story, so I can be more loving and respectful and aware of her as a whole person. And that maybe is some of the issue that we're having in the world today is not enough people are getting to know people, as human beings, not as a skin color, a gender, or whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm. Curiosity is what's going to save the world. I am a big believer in that. And a big believer, and also just so encouraged to hear all of that, Diana, because I'm not going to lie. I became a mother, and then I started looking at the people who had my dream job, and I didn't see any mothers.
Mm-hmm.
And that really has scared me quite a bit. You know, I dream of being an artistic director, and I'm in a city where there are some female artistic directors, but I also don't have many peers my age on staff that are female mothers. Not many. And so it's really, I think it's encouraging to hear the stories of like, go back and do it. Like it's never, life keeps going. And so I think the goal is every day, can we make it more possible? And I think that's honestly, COVID has given me a lot of time to reflect on that.
Mothers need money too.
Yeah. I like to live in a house and eat food. We're like jumping everywhere and we have like 2 minutes. I'm just like, which one do we talk about? I'm curious, just really fast, after we saw that amazing video of Shaunyce dancing. How do you feel being an artist has made you a better parent? We kind of touched that on a little bit, but like, I just want to celebrate that really fast.
Yeah, quickly. I've said now for many years, after seeing how my girls have really taken to art and performance, that, you know, maybe I'm not in this business for me. Maybe I'm in this business to show them that they can do it. And really help them also on the business side. Because although my parents have been very supportive in terms of, hey, you go out there and you pursue your dreams, since I was a kid, they didn't know, they weren't in the industry, so they didn't know the business side to it. And I feel like, oh my gosh, I have the insider look. And so I can help them on that end, which is so important, which I wish I would have known, you know, about negotiating and being professional and knowing your worth and what things you need to do and things that you need to pass up. And so if I could impart that knowledge on my kids, which I do all the time, sometimes they don't want to hear it. But I feel like sometimes, well, maybe that's why I go so hard and I go so strong in this business, because of that. You know, maybe I can be that parent that can help them on that flip side of this, other than just, okay, look, you're going to be a great performer, which I do no matter what they're doing. I'm practicing with them and trying to get them to be the best performer that they can be. They're not always happy with my direction, but you know, I'm gonna do it anyway. But also, like I said, that business side. That side that nobody really talks about, and that when you get in, you're like, whoa, oh my God, that you got to know both sides. You got to know how to be on stage, and you also got to know how to be backstage, and you also have to know how to be in the admin office. And those are things that are important, that if you're not in the industry, you really don't know what that's like. So I think that's been super helpful, I think, in terms of parenting performing children, and also when they were younger, just like that, what Diana was saying, that open play, talking in a crazy voice. When they were little, they won't let me do it now because they're tired of me, they're teenagers. But like, I used to do the whole thing, like, I'm just going to sing everything. Every sentence I say is an opera. Sing.
I love it.
And now they're like, shut up. But when they were little, they were like,
I'm in trouble because my 2-year-old's favorite phrase whenever we do anything silly is "stop, mommy." I'm like, oh no, it's already there. Diana, what about you? You are an artist. You're a storyteller. Don't deny it. You are.
I appreciate being able to even be in this space with both of you, and to share a little of my artistry. I think I'm a much better mom. I think overall just a better person because I've been able to tap into my creativity. It's been life-giving. And as Shaunyce was even saying, like, just the example that I'm setting by, like, Eva will come, or Malcolm and Viv will come over, and they'll see, my audio waves, and I'm editing and I'm cutting stuff up, and they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "Because it brings me joy. It's really fun. Do you want to hear it?" No? Okay. Well, I'm going to keep doing this. I think that's the other piece of it is, I don't know if I care about what anybody else says about it. I'm doing it because I truly love it, and I know it's touching me in some way that hopefully it'll touch somebody else. I mean, yes, hopefully people will receive our art, right? But I'm not in it for that. And so that's a reminder for me, like, this is the thing I know I should be doing and wanting to do. And I love that I'm setting that example for Eva. And I also think I'm setting the example for Eva that just because you can't do it now doesn't mean you can't do it later. I think that's been my own lesson. Because I don't think at 18, 20 that I was like, if I don't do this now, if I don't get into radio and TV now, I'll never be able to do it. No, as long as I'm breathing, there's time, right? So so for me being a parent, I think it's giving me confidence to just remember to pursue my dreams as I help them pursue theirs.
Oh, bottle you up. This is what I wanted. As I was like, I need the wisdom from these two women. I want to do final shout outs to organizations that mean a lot to us because we all have them. And I want to just use this platform to do it. Let's do it, Shaunyce.
Let's see. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm a big supporter of Northwest Tap Connection in Rainier Beach. Both of my daughters went through Northwest Tap Connection. My oldest daughter currently teaches for them. If you're looking for a place to send, they have adult classes as well, but looking for a place to send your kid to get wonderful dance lessons from knowledgeable teachers in a very rich cultural setting, it is Northwest Tap. Also, they are taking donations. Of course, COVID has really hurt everybody at this time, but as a arts organization that services young people for the most part, they've really taken a hit. Please consider donating to them and supporting them. Also, my son's basketball team, Britton Select Basketball, them as well. You may not have a kid that's a performer, and like I said, I'm a new sports mom, and that's fine. It's still as much passion and work, and these young people, they miss their sport as well. Also, I teach for an organization, Coyote Central. And they're in the CD, their main places in the CD, and they have so much training and classes for young people that are middle schoolish age, I think like 10 to 14. They're on a pay what you can system that's unbelievable. They hire professionals to teach the young people that are currently in the industry. Coyote Central is wonderful. Give a donation. They have a gala coming up. They need help as everybody does right now in COVID. go on their website, sponsor a young person that needs to take classes, but they may not have the money to do so. Send your kids there to Coyote Central, sign up for their online classes. They've moved everything pretty much to online. Help them out, y'all. Those are my 3.
I love it. Diana, go.
That's amazing, Shaunyce. Geez. So I actually just came across this on Instagram. I'm a new Instagram user. I just joined in July. I'm very excited. Social media is very novel and exciting for me. I'm always like, ooh, look at that. What is this? And nobody told me about the ads and all the stuff I'd be buying. I've got me some yoga pants. I've got some noodles. I've gotten ice cream, 11 pints. I'm just telling you, you should have warned me. We'll talk about that another time. But anyways, the organization that I have just found out about that I think is really cool is called the Loveland Foundation. And their effort is to help get women of color counseling and mental health services. And I just think that's really cool. Something I've been able to do during COVID because my husband's now home is I'm able to do teletherapy and check in and connect and just check in with myself and get those tools to keep being a better version of myself. So the Loveland Foundation is an option for some folks.
I love that. Mine is an organization that I've utilized a lot during this time of COVID called The Riveter. They're a local organization. And what I have found really useful from them is I take a lot of online courses. So I took an online course about how to balance parenthood and working from home. I took an online course of how to be an advocate for yourself as a parent when you negotiate. So considering the whole, it's a female-led organization, they do amazing tutorials, online workshops, all these things that have really helped to bolster my ability to have faith in my own agency. So I really appreciate them during this time. Oh my gosh, I cannot thank both of you enough. I feel like there's about a million other things that I even had written down for us to talk about. But maybe if everybody loves us enough, we can do this. And I would love to see this conversation grow into more of a parenthood conversation. Yes, Renee, because I want to hear from other parents. I want to hear how, we haven't even talked about like what motherhood looks like on stage in musical theater. So let's come back and do it again. Please, Village Theater. We have more to discuss, but thank you. Thank you. Everybody clap for Shaunyce and Diana.
Thank you.
Oh, you guys.
Join us next week. Jerry will be back. Do not worry. We'll have Kids Stage alums, Eliana Coe and Nathaniel Smith, and they're going to chat about feeling empowered as the next generation of theater makers. So it should be a really fun, exciting conversation. Love you all. Thank you for being here. Diana and Shaunyce, you are my heroes. I revel in your wisdom. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.